Hey guys, happy Sunday. As many of you are very new to what a 7-day cleanse consists of, and for our healthy gut challenge, I wanted to just break down some of the details. And I apologize, my voice is a little bit off, but hopefully you can understand me here okay. But I wanted to just kind of give you guys some ideas and tips as we are heading into this week. So I did just do a post. I want you to make sure you are starting your preparation, that you are going to be, filling out that sheet that I put out there to check in with your, your weight, your measurements, and just to kind of assess how you're feeling, because that's a big part of motivating yourself is to see those changes. 7 days, guys, you can do this. And we want to understand, why are we doing this? A lot of us have some different goals, some different reasons. Some of you guys, we have a few that I know won't be commenting in the group, but they are following along, that there's a couple people who have done this many times, but we all have reasons for why we need to continue to work on improving our health. And gut health is a huge part of this. So I want to kind of just talk for a brief moment on why we need to look at improving our gut health. If you look at some of the things here on the screen, you can see that almost every one of us are unable to avoid many of these things, such as stress, oftentimes poor diet, if we've ever been on antibiotics, if we've had any deficiencies, if we're exposed to, a lot of chemicals around us from cleaning products and environmental concerns, that all of these things continue to play a part in what happens inside. And this can create a problem for our entire body. Interestingly enough, everything is connected. So if you're looking at this inflammatory bowel disease, if you've never heard of that, it's getting to be more and more common. And if you look at some of the symptoms, you can see here, that's a huge list of things that are very concerning to our overall health and our overall quality of health. And these are all things that we want to just note can oftentimes stem from starting from the intestinal tract and continue to be systematic, meaning that it affects every system inside of our body. And as we look at gut health, that also is a huge correlation with our immune system. So as many of us are trying to improve how we are feeling, we maybe catch a lot of colds, we're sick a lot, we get laryngitis, not necessarily from being sick, but we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to build it up, because 80% of your immune system is in your gut. So we want to continue, guys, to try to really look at how we can reduce the inflammation inside our body. And that's where this cleanse is going to be a huge jumpstart for us. Now, a lot of you guys that are new, just to note that there are several options for how people are doing the cleanse this week. The way that we're doing it this time, you could do this version anytime you want, because we are allowing you to keep some protein in there. You can use the Life Shakes, you can use quality protein, preferably organic if you're using meat sources. But if you are doing the cleanse as it's designed with just fruits and vegetables, that is only something you want to do once or twice a year. All right. So whatever version you're doing, you're making that decision, and you are, prepping for this week to make yourself be successful. And as you're looking at some of these things here, guys, I mentioned that inflammatory bowel disease that actually affects over 3 billion Americans now. So some of the things you might even recognize this week, you might not have noticed some of those symptoms could have been starting from issues with your gut. I know there's even a couple of you that are struggling with menopause symptoms, and you'll be amazed that even sometimes by working to increase that gut health, that can even tie into decreasing some of your menopause symptoms. So you're going to see here lots of correlations with different types of inflammatory type illnesses. And I wanted to just share one here really fast, because this is actually someone, you guys that are all part of our Shaklee family. This is our master coordinator. Her name is Hannah, and she actually started Shaklee when she was very young. But the reason that she actually got started was because of her own health story. When she was 2 years old, she actually ate popcorn, and it actually caused a bleeding in her stomach, went to the hospital. Long story short, just had so many digestive issues throughout her whole life. Finally, at age 18, she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. She could not gain weight. She was sick all the time, always missing school, if you hear her full story. And as she started to realize, the effects of what Crohn's was doing to her body, she decided to take her health on herself. So at age 36, this is when she was introduced to Shaklee and really began on a heavy supplement program. And if you saw her today, she's now 78 years old, still very vibrant, still runs her Shaklee business, and very healthy. Her husband still, is running, very active, and I believe he's now 81 years old. So, the point is, though, it's important to realize that the products we are using are different. So I want you to, kind of get in some of this education I'm going to share with you guys on understanding, these are not just over the counter, synthetic, don't work, aren't absorbed products we are putting into ourselves. There is a reason that this company has been around for 67 years. And because the products work and they're clinically tested, but also nature based. So if you look at 3 things that our body needs to survive, first of all, oxygen, right? We all need to make sure we are getting oxygen at all times, proper nutrients. And the third is your body's ability to eliminate waste. If you look at an imbalance in any of these areas, you are going to notice symptoms starting to occur, which can lead to then disease. So when we a lot of times don't ever think about, a waste and, if our bowels are not working properly, of what that can do to our body. So this is one piece of the system that we want to make sure that we are getting more regular. That's also part of this reset and this cleanse, getting a lot of fiber, getting a lot of things that are going to help us to stay more regular, because we do not want those toxins to build up in our liver and our gut. And you can see here too, that oftentimes what we are noticing is not from, oh, I ate pizza today, for example. It's years of those foods that continue to build up in our system that are hard to digest. And then it creates this mucus inside the colon. And over time, those poisons and those harmful foods start to overload the liver, and it weakens your body's other systems. And this is where we start to see severe constipation. We get a sluggish colon. And believe it or not, those added waste inside of the body are particularly the leading cause of many degenerative diseases. So this is why this cleanse is so important. And we are super excited that some of you guys are doing it for the very first time. But the goal is to start to also make some of the changes you guys are going to instill into habits. So we are working with, yes, using the supplements, but we're also really focusing on our food. We want a ton of water every day. And as a little side note, I will probably share a post on this tomorrow, but we want to make sure that we are starting our day with warm water with lemon. And I'll give you guys, again, a little bit more information on why we're doing that. But that is a big part of getting our body to be a little more alkaline, to help get things going first thing in the morning. And that is something we do even beyond the cleanse. And again, warm water. So warm water with fresh lemon, not the squeezy plastic lemon, but a real lemon. So as we're working on creating these new habits, you will see these other things, guys, which are just so helpful for a jump start. When you start to notice you're sleeping better and you have more energy and, weight loss, the cravings, prime time right before the holidays, that you guys are looking to do this. So what are some of the dangers of constipation? Again, oftentimes you would never hear people talk about some of the signs of what happens, such as, hypertension or indigestion or even hemorrhoids, are all things that deal with constipation. And this is why Herblax is a part of your cleanse pack. So I'm going to break down these supplements that are all in your little AM and your PM packets. So Herblax is going to be one of them. So we want to make sure that we stop some of these problems before they turn into bigger ones. If you notice some of the signs of liver toxemia, again, if you notice you're burping a lot, if you get headaches often, again, constipation, the Herblax is amazing because it's actually more of a detoxifier. So it is something you can use on a regular basis, but it's very gentle. It's interesting that in other countries, they don't actually use products like Miralax as a laxative because they know the harmful effects, that it flushes out too much. It can be causing you to be dehydrated and actually can make you very, very weak. So this is something very safe and is an awesome alternative to helping you to stay more regular. So that's why that's part of our little cleanse packets. We also have our liver DTX, which is in there. And your liver is actually your largest organ. If you look at what your liver does, it detoxifies and it purifies. So it's very important that we try to get any sludge, anything that is built up out of there, because we need to make sure that it's not being overloaded and taxed. So this is, again, the importance of doing something like this very often is a great idea to be using as a supportive option. And just as a little side note, I do know somebody on here that has had their gallbladder out, and this is actually an important product to even continue to take, because oftentimes if you have an organ that has been removed or, has been traumatized for some way, that others are going to start to be overworked. So this liver DTX can really help with keeping some stimulation. So just as a side note, it's a great one to keep, even if you've had something like your gallbladder removed. And now looking at the probiotic that is in your cleanse pack, it's actually going to be the Optiflora DI. So I'm going to kind of share with you guys some other things that are not included with your pack, just to help educate you guys. I'm a big fan of, over 20 some years of helping people. I feel like whether it's exercise, nutrition, wellness, a big piece is understanding why you're doing it and to get the foundation so that you know the importance of continuing with these habits. So some of the products you see here, this Optiflora DI, the D stands for digestive and the I stands for immunity. So this actually has 4 strains of different live bacteria that's guaranteed to be released into your intestinal tract. So it survives your stomach acid, which most probiotics, that's the concern, that if it's liquid, if it's not refrigerated, all of these factors come into play that it's not actually live by the time it gets into your body, guaranteed. So this is going to be a big part of that building up of the good to get rid of the bad. Now, there's a couple other options to just educate you guys on that are not part of this cleanse, but this little pearl is something that we use quite a bit. Now, you can totally take both of them, especially if you have a lot of gut issues and digestive issues. This little pearl is 2 different strains than what's in the DI. So this prebiotic, this is actually a powder, and this helps to prepare for the probiotic. You're saying, hi, Arthur. So the prebiotic helps to get the microbes ready to absorb the probiotic. So for some of us that our digestive system is really labored, you might need an additional support of that prebiotic. So it's something to note. And that prebiotic is so easy to use. You can throw it in water. It's actually kind of sweet. So it's a really good thing, again, for some of us to know about in case you are, really looking at doing some major help with your digestive system. So these are some other options for digestive health that we kind of mentioned. We have the alfalfa, the Herblax, the Optiflora that are all included in your little packet. We're going to talk about alfalfa also here in a second. But 2 other things to note, there is something called EasyGest, which are digestive enzymes. So for some of you also, as we get older, it's pretty common that we might start to have some food sensitivities. What does that mean? That means that our body's having a hard time breaking something down, and maybe we don't know what that is. So those digestive enzymes can be a key piece to helping to break down what your body can't do on its own. So you would take those before you eat, and you may really notice a big difference, especially for some of us that maybe struggle a lot with gas or bloating. Maybe when you go out to eat, things are cooked differently. That is a great thing to know about in advance, is to have something like EasyGest available. Another one is called the Stomach Soothing Complex. This can be used as needed for, again, occasional use or every day if needed, but just, again, something for you to note. The peppermint, the ginger is a really helpful option for helping to get through some of those times when you may need a little extra boost. And these are all just amazing options for inflammation. So if you feel like your body's holding on to inflammation, this is a big part in why that alfalfa is in your packet. That alfalfa is something that personally, myself, my husband, we use this every single day. Actually, even our 12-year-old daughter and our 18-year-old son. That alfalfa is a great way to help pull things like heavy metals from your body, but it's also very alkalizing. It is the deepest growing plant that actually absorbs trace minerals, but you do need to take a lot of them. That's why you're going to notice they're in the morning and they're in the night. Personally, I take about 10 to 20 a day, and I use that for swelling. I have a rare vascular condition, so I tend to know that for some reason, if I am feeling extra pain because of the inflammation, I take extra alfalfa. It works amazing for me. Allergies, another huge reason to know more about alfalfa. And again, these are all just really important things to note. Now, one other thing, some of you guys are using either the Meology or the Vitalizer, which is going to have your multivitamin. It has your vitamin C, it has a lot of those things in there, which is great to know. But sometimes you may need additional vitamin C. And I'm kind of highlighting that right now because of cold and flu season. But it's interesting that this is the one thing that your body does not make. Your body cannot produce vitamin C. So getting it from your foods and supplements is very important. And this time-released one is a really important one to know because it actually stays in your system for up to 12 hours. So those of us that need some more antioxidants, that's just, again, a really great thing to note. There's also a chewable version for kids, which we also love that one too. But just to mention that sustained release gives you a little more, and again, stays in your body a little longer. So alfalfa is the thing I just mentioned is in your little packet here. This is just kind of some interesting facts that you may not realize too. Things like body odor. I mentioned allergies, arthritis, sinus problems. Take alfalfa. It is amazing how it's a natural decongestant and it really helps with detoxifying. So love alfalfa. Can't say enough good things about it. And it's a clean source of alfalfa with no pesticides. Any product Shaklee ever makes does not use anything that would ever harm a cell in your body, which means that's even skincare products. If you look at any of the Shaklee cleaning products, any of the snack bars, anything you will find, Shaklee has never had a product recalled ever because they do the testing to make sure it's safe and they only use clean ingredients. So again, that's just very important to note. And we have our life shakes, which are also part of this as an option. Many of you are using them this week that I've talked to. So I will be using life shakes too. And generally, whenever I'm helping you guys with a reset or a cleanse, we do it right alongside of you, maybe a different version, but we are always right here with you. So this life shake this week will be a huge part of this, that it is a meal replacement. But if you look at what's in here, very clean, has high amount of fiber, which we're helping, right, to keep that digestive system intact. We're trying to make sure we're getting enough protein. And we're also talking about gut health here, guys. That is also something to note, is getting enough fiber. If you look at what the average American gets per day in fiber, it is maybe around 15 grams. And we should be having at least 25 to 30 a day. So make sure that you're getting enough fiber, not just this week, but beyond, to help with symptoms that sometimes you don't, realize could be related to not getting enough of that. So your life shakes, you can use these throughout the day, however you choose. Again, if you're doing just fruits and vegetables, fine, that is great. But you do want to note, if some of you struggle with getting hungry, you need to make sure you're eating every 2 to 3 hours. You're drinking, again, a ton of water. And I know a lot of you are going to say, can I have this? Can I have that? Just every time question yourself, is it something that grows from a plant? Okay, so think about that. Or is it something that was processed in a plant? And that is a really interesting concept to help you know if it's something you're probably going to be allowed this week or not. Okay, so we want to keep everything as nature-based as possible. And again, support yourself as needed. Eat every 2 to 3 hours. If you have a bad day, we are not going to give up. Okay, we are here to encourage you guys. I want you to make sure you are using this group. This is a very small group, guys. So you don't need to be scared to ask questions. If you got to, post pictures of something you want to share with us, or give us some ideas, or let us know how you're doing. This is what this group is for, guys. So, and last but not least, local friends, I just wanted to make sure you did see this, that one part of keeping ourselves on track is getting enough variety. So every month we do these smoothie workshops, which, they're a lot of work, but not for you guys. You come, you make 10 freezer smoothie meals, and you leave and have them ready to go. New recipes every month. So this is what's on the menu. So if you're interested in joining us, be sure to RSVP, but we're having one this coming Saturday at 2. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. All right, guys, comment with your questions, any concerns. We are really excited to, again, see how you guys do next week. And I guarantee you are going to feel better. So stick with it. Hang in there, guys, and let's make it a great week. Thanks.